Okay, today we are factoring trinomials using guess and check. And we learned a different method yesterday. We had the big X and we solved the big X and then we split the middle term. And that is one great way of factoring trinomials. It'll work every time. This way, the guess and check method might be faster for some of you. And it's definitely a way to learn how to do. So here we go. Let's take a look. So basically we're factoring trinomials. We've been doing that. And this time we're actually going to factor directly into parentheses. Before I get into the process, let's just write down the steps. Here, step number 1, look at the first term and guess two factors. Prime numbers are easy, it says. Well, what does that mean? Well, 3 is a prime number. The only factors of 3 are 3 and 1. So if I'm looking to factor this, I could put 3 on one side and 1 on the other. Those are the only factors of 3x squared. Step number 2 is look at the last term. This is the last term, and guess two factors and throw them into the parentheses here. Now I'm going to talk more about the process on the next slide. Just make sure you have these two steps done. And step number 3 is to check. Check just means to multiply it out. Does 3x minus 1 times x plus 2 equal 3x squared plus 5x minus 2? Of course it does, and you would use your double distribution method here to check. So the substitute should check and make sure everyone has these written down. And if not, pause the video right now and let them write it down.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow. All the way. Double rainbow. Oh my god. It's a double rainbow all the way. Whoa, that's so intense.
So while I'm talking about rainbows here, making you watch this classic YouTube video about rainbows, well, your video or your technique for solving this is going to involve a double rainbow. I just wanted you guys to remember the double rainbow.
Woo! Oh, wow! Woo! Yeah! Oh my! Oh my! Oh my God! Look at that! It's starting to even look like a triple rainbow. Oh my God! It's full on double rainbow all the way across the sky. Oh my God!
Okay, so the double rainbow will come into play here in a second. We're going to go through a couple examples. Here's the first one. Make sure you write it down. 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. And our first step, if you remember, was to find the two factors of the first term, any two factors, and throw them into the parentheses here. Now, 2 is a prime number. It's pretty easy. It has to be 2 and x. 2x and x. Those are the only ways to get 2x squared. And 7 is also a prime number. That's my next step, is to throw these in here. 7, it has to be 7 times 1. So I'm just going to throw the numbers in here. I'm going to put them in this order. It may not be right. That's when the check comes in. And we check using the double rainbow here. How does a double rainbow work? We'll go ahead and draw yourself a double rainbow. And what we do is multiply these two terms together. 1 times x, you get 1x right there. And I write it on my double rainbow. 2x times 7 is 14x. And I write that as part of my double rainbow. Now what am I doing with these two numbers here, 1x and 14x? Well, these two numbers, we're looking for some combination of 14x and 1x that's going to lead to my middle term, negative 13x here. So I'm going to drop the negative 13x in. And can you guys think of any combinations of 1 and 14 that add to negative 13? Well, of course you can, because 1 minus 14 is negative 13. Now at the beginning of this, I didn't have you throw signs in, and there's a reason for that. There should be no signs here yet, because this double rainbow process is going to tell you what the signs are, like this. 2x times 7 has to equal negative 14. The only way to get negative is to throw a negative sign right there. And then this 1x is positive. That means I throw a positive number there. So that was the entire process. I guessed the first two terms. I guessed factors from the first term. I guessed factors from the last term. And I did my double rainbow checking method. Now would be a time to pause if everybody doesn't have this, because I'm going to move on to the next slide. Here's your next example, 5x squared plus 14x plus 8, and we're going to do it the exact same way. So I'm going to throw my parentheses out. And look at the first term, it is prime. The only way to get to 5x squared is 5x and x. Now these could be on the on either side, doesn't really matter, as you're going to see in a moment here. Now factors of 8, there's a couple. There's 8 times 1 and there's 2 times 4. I'm going to try 8 times 1. And I'm just going to throw them in here. I'm going to throw 8 over here, and I'm going to throw 1 over here. Now I'm going to do my double rainbow. I will tell you guys this now, that you guys will be making mistakes here, and you're going to need to erase things. So some of you are working in pen. I know this. It's going to be better to use a pencil for this technique. But let me go ahead and multiply here. I've got 8 times x, that's 8x, and 5x times 1 is 5x. And I want those to get to my middle term there, so I'm going to write it down here. Is there any combination of 8 and 5 that's going to get me to 14? Well, 8 plus 5 is 13. That's not right. And 8 minus 5 is going to be 3. So this is not the right combination. I can't go from 8 and 5 and get to 14. So what I'm going to do, well, maybe I guessed wrong. Maybe this 8 needs to go over here, and this 1 needs to be over there. So I'm going to switch them. This is when you guys would erase what is there and try another guess here. So here, in my double rainbow, 1 times x is 1x, and 5 times 8 is 40. Whew. Do I have a combination of 1 and 40 that's going to get me to 14? I don't think so. 1 plus 40 is going to be 41. That's 14 reversed, but it's not 14. And 40 minus 1 is 39. That's not going to work. So I guessed poorly with 1 and 8. But there are other factors of 8. There are 2 and 4. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to guess 2 over here and 4 over there, and then go through my double rainbow check. 4 times x, that's 4x. 5x times 2 is 10x. And look, 4 plus 10 is 14. The last step is to put my signs in here, and they're both positive. So I'm going to put a positive here and a positive here. And that is my answer, 5x plus 4 times x plus 2. Now would be a good time to pause the video if everyone doesn't have this, because I'm going to move to the next slide. Okay, here's the last example, 6x cubed plus 32x squared plus 10x. Now remember on last night's homework, there are a couple that you had to find a GCF, greatest common factor, before you factor this. In this case, I have x in all of them, so x will come out, and also 2 goes into each of those numbers. So I'm going to pull out a 2x and write 2x times 3x squared plus 16x plus 5. Well, how did I get this trinomial? It's easy. 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. 2x times 16x is 32x squared. And 2x times 5 is 10x. So now I'm going to factor this middle term. Now you're going to want to remember to bring this 2x down. It has to come down. And at some point during my presentation it drops down. I don't remember when it is. But let's see. I'm going to start factoring here. I have the 3x squared. That makes it easy. It has to be 3x and x. And oh, there's my 2x. It dropped down now. It's part of the answer, this 2x. I look at my 5, and what are the factors of 5? They're 5 and 1. And I'm going to guess 1 over here and 5 over here. And we'll do my double rainbow check. 1x times x, that's 1x. 3x times 5 is 15x. And I'm trying to get to my middle term here of 16, and look, I've done it. 1 plus 15 is 16. Last thing is to put both signs in, and it looks like they're both positive, so I put a plus here and a plus here. Now, I guessed good from the start, but I just kind of recognized that I had 16 in the middle, and that 3 times 5 is 15. So if I went 3 times 5, like I did here, then there was just 1 left to get, and it kind of filled itself in. So if you're kind of thinking about these before you start putting them into the parentheses, they're going to get easier and easier. So here's your final answer. You have to write all 3 values. 2x times 3x plus 1 times x plus 5. Now would be a good place to pause so that they have all of this information. And here's some practice problems for you guys. I will give you a hint that the third one has a greatest common factor that you have to pull out. Substitute now would be a good time to pause this video and let them work it out, and then play the video so they can check their answers. Okay, so here are your answers. The first one is x plus 1 times x plus 2. Second one is 2x minus 1 times x minus 4. And the third one is 4x times x minus 1 times x minus 5. Notice all 3 items are together on this last one. That's it. You guys, good luck on your homework.